LexisNexis Academic is a very powerful database that will allow you to look up a wide variety of types of information. Today we're going to focus on locating news resources using it, but it's also a great source when you need to find legal information, for example, looking up a court case, look up information about businesses, information about countries, etc. You can do a very basic search for news information by using the small search box on the front screen, but you'll run better searches if you use the left-hand navigation and go to the section labeled News. Here, you can choose for more specific types of news that you wish to search, and they have some very interesting options. For example, you can search newspapers and wires, so things like the AP wire, Reuters, etc. TV and radio news transcripts, this includes things like ABC, CNN, etc. Foreign language newspapers, college and university newspapers, and information about business and industry. They've also recently added blogs and video. I'm going to go into the TV and radio transcripts section for right now and show you how to locate transcripts from radio programs. So we can go in, and now we see more options. Again, we have 3 search boxes. We have terms that we can connect using and or not. We also, because this is a very large database, have the option to say that we want our words to be within 5 words of each other or in the same sentence or in the same paragraph. If you play around with this database a lot, you'll discover that that can be very, very useful. You can search everywhere, showing the name, subject terms, or things that have 5 occurrences or more. Depending on what part of the database you're searching, your options for where you can search will be different. We have very few options in this particular section. We can set dates, and we can choose what sources we want to search. Right now, I'm going to set a search for National Public Radio. And I want to do a search on Hurricane Irene. There are different ways I can search for this, but I'm going to do a phrase search for Hurricane Irene. And I want to limit it simply to Vermont, okay? So I have a phrase, I have a place, and let's set some dates. Date is between. We can use the little calendar function, go back, and let's set it for the beginning of September, and run it through today. That's fine. Okay. We'll run that search, and it comes back with 12 items. Again, I have options to narrow this down if I had a very large set of results. I have an option as well to eliminate things that look like they're duplicates. When you're searching the regular newspapers, this can be very helpful because you'll get things that are wire feeds that are picked up by many, many newspapers. In this case, we don't need that. For each item, I get a title, place of the publication where it's from, a date, and a sense of how long it is. This can be helpful sometimes if you're trying to decide if the thing you're looking for is going to be great detail or not very much. I'm going to look at the item number 2, Managing Rivers When Record Rains Fall. And this is an item that played on National Public Radio. It tells me the name of the person and the name of the program. I can go down and I see a transcript. It's basically like a script of what occurred on that radio program. And these appear very quickly here. There's a little bit of a lag time because they do have to be transcribed, but they're a wonderful resource, particularly if you remember listening to something on the news or seeing something on the news and want to find more detail about it. I'm going to go back now and look at the regular search screen again. I'm going to click New Search. I'm still in radio and news transcripts, but I want to select that I want to look at newspapers and wires. And again, like before, I get the same search boxes. I have an option to select sources and be a little bit more specific. And I'm going to say I want to see U.S. newspapers and wires. And I can do another search on Hurricane Irene if I want. And let's actually see what kind of coverage this got nationally. So we'll look at Hurricane Irene, Vermont, what happened in Vermont, but let's see what national papers had to say about it. Again, I'll select dates. I'm going to go back a little farther than I did last time this time. Go into August, just to cover the very beginning of the month. And, oops, let's do, close that, through today. Okay, so let's run this search and see what we get. We're probably going to get considerably more than we got when we ran it looking for transcripts. So as you can see, we got 938 options here. I'm going to turn on this deduping function. And that narrowed it down to 888 options. Over on the left-hand side, again, I get the option to begin to narrow it down a little bit more. And I'm going to go in and I'm going to say I want to narrow it down to newspapers. And I can then, if I want, even narrow it down to particular newspapers. So you'll see, for example, I do have some Vermont newspapers here, the Brattleboro Reformer, but I'm also getting coverage from places like the New York Times, the Washington Post, newspapers from around the country. So let's look at the Brattleboro Reformer. It's going to come back. And you'll see that they've got a lot of coverage of this, a lot of very brief articles. If I look at number 17, though, I get an article about Welch pushing for a bill to help flood victims. And I go in, I see the byline, I see the article, and there I have it.